Hi, welcome to Fatmata Speaks. Welcome to the weekly messages. So this week's message is all about the rewards that you're receiving from this journey that you have been undergoing. So last week's message was all about, it was showing us like the stages that we went through on this journey and the impact it's going to have on others. This week, it's all about us and how our journey is actually impacting us, has been impacting us, and how we can use that for the future. Literally, that's it. So we set off on this journey. We had a destination in mind. For some of us, it was to find out who we are. For some of us, it was to find our power again. And for others, it was just to free ourselves from the burden, from the trauma, from the hurt. And good news, we did it, okay? So let's start from the very beginning. The first image that I saw was a boat, because I don't think you can call that a ship. It reminded me of the purple boat in the movie Willy Wonka, the one with Johnny Depp. It was purple, and just as that boat went into the cave, the tunnel, you also went into the tunnel. It was dark. You couldn't see where you're going. You were just experiencing the flow, meaning whatever comes your way, you were experiencing it, having whiplash there and there. And you were trusting yourself. You were transforming. You were trusting. You were living. You were crying. You were screaming. You were hurting for some of us. And for others, we were just in the thick of it, literally. But you were shifting. You were constantly shifting. You were not staying in one particular emotion for too long. You were shifting and integrating. So you were moving through this tunnel. And whereas Willy Wonka tunnel was just like woo woo going there and there, you were actually going up. Because the only way you can go from a bottomless pit is up. And you went into your bottomless pit. Literally or just, figuratively. You were at the bottom and you decided to like change your life, and that's how you started this journey, to change your life. And that meant you were going up. You were not swimming. You were sailing against you were sailing against the current, and you were going up, up, up. And the image zoomed out, and I saw that you were on the path that you actually took was a chair, okay? It was a chair, and you were going up in a snake-like manner, and the chair was like just the handle of it. It was the right handle of it, and you were trying to get to your higher self, to yourself. You were just trying to get to yourself, the one that knows who you are and how to deal with things, one that is strong enough. You already had a vision of that person in your head, and you were working towards that. And you did it, okay? You did it. And in the image that I saw, you came out in a place of peace, a place of wonder, to be honest. It literally looked like, I don't know if you guys have seen Lord of the Rings, and I don't remember the name of it. Anyway, it was the home of the elves, okay? It was the home of the elves. And before before the fellowship took off. Exactly. Yeah. So like it kind of reminded me of that. So you came from the dark, from the struggling, from the place of screaming and shedding and taking on new things, to a place of peace. And in this place of peace, you have learned to heal yourself, to understand yourself, and to just be as you are, to accept yourself as you are. And it's a wonderful thing, because once you accept who you are, once you know who you are, the world cannot tell you shit. Literally. The world cannot tell you shit, because you already know who you are. And in a way, you stop competing against anything except yourself. Literally, you stop competing. Because like Willy Wonka, the movie was a competition for a goal. And you kind of, you went on this journey, but it wasn't a competition for a particular goal, because you were not competing against anyone. You were only competing against yourself, and it wasn't a competition. Actually, it was a journey to yourself. So it's two different things, and you are finally in a place where you really don't compete. That doesn't mean like if you want to win a grand or something, you don't go out there and compete in a competition. You do that, but you do not compete in a sense of like, oh, I need the outside validation in order to feel complete, in order to feel whole. You do not do that anymore, because you know who you are, you understand your power, you know that you are whole, you know that you're huge, you know that you are loved, you're cared for, and that is giving you new strength. So the image that I saw after they came out, after the person came, after arriving in the elf land, elf world, the person came out of the ship, the boat. They came out of the boat, and once they came out of the boat, they didn't look the same as they did previously. Instead of like having like a physical, tangible body, they kind of were just tall. They were huge. They were taking up space. And that's also something you've learned with this journey. Before, maybe you couldn't take up space. You felt you were making yourself small. But now you're like, fuck it. No more playing small. You're letting yourself grow. You're letting yourself be as you are. And you're huge, okay? Because you are a powerful being. You're huge. You're taking up space. You're embracing roles, but you're not attaching yourself to anything that weighs you down. So the figure was tall, but they also had like gown. Yeah, they wore like a gown, and it was super light that gave the impression of them kind of like floating through life. So yeah, no more, attachment there and there, that you're not attaching yourself to things. I think that's the conclusion of it. You're not competing anymore. You're not attaching yourself to external things. Your anchor in life is yourself. Is you and the divine. That's your anchor. And because of that, you can take up space and don't give a damn what other people are saying. And you live life. You do not follow strict, rigid rules that try to like suppresses you. You do not do that anymore. And the person, after being told, they came out of the elf wall. They step out, literally stepped out, and then they were walking on high ground. Okay, so because you know who you are, you know your power, and you're actually acting within your power, you're not going down below. Everything is just up high. You just operate at a higher frequency. And while they were walking the high grounds, they came across a stick full of donuts. I don't know why donuts, but donuts. And they had a couple to eat. And there were other foods there as well, but it was a bit foggy. I couldn't see exactly what they were. But the person was eating, enjoying life, and they were skipping. Remember, I don't know if you guys used to do this as a child, but like when you would just skip home, when you're just so happy and so joyful, you not gaining, but like you're becoming happy again. You're becoming curious about life. You're enjoying life. I guess this is it. Before you were in the process, the thick of it, of becoming who you are, remembering who you are, calling back your power, and integrating all of that. So you were constantly healing, doing the work. But now you're not healing, doing the work. You're actually enjoying life. And all the lessons that you've learned from your past, you've integrated that. So to the extent that it doesn't anchor you, it doesn't weigh you down. The past doesn't weigh you down anymore. Instead, it gives you wings. You are light. You are literally light. And you can just go wherever. The next image that I saw after the person was like eating the donuts and the other food, they kind of like they were skating on water. Now, the water wasn't frozen or anything, it was just flowing normally. And they were skating on water. And that goes to show that because of who you have become, because of you finally embracing that life is meant to be lived, not to be, to be constantly be struggling, to be constantly be healing and all that. Because you have learned that and integrate that into your mind, you're doing things that exceed people's expectations of what you're supposed to be doing and what you're supposed to be able to do. But you don't care about them, actually. Like, in the vision, I could feel like the person was skating on water, and then people were like impressed. Oh my God, I can't believe that she actually made it. Kind of like, but she was like, I don't care. She didn't give them a time of a day. So you're also going to be operating in that power during this week. People were not expecting you to come this far. Some of them thought your idea was like crazy. They didn't tell it to your face. Some of them did. But people were telling you that. People were thinking it. That, okay. Some people maybe went outright not supporting you. But you went your way anyway because you know you know what you want from life. And you know you want to live life, not constantly be struggling. And you're going for it. And you're surprising everyone. You're surprising everyone but yourself because you know that you're capable of doing it, so it's fine. They're like, oh my God, I didn't know that was possible. But you're like, yeah, I'm just living life. Literally, you're just living life. And yeah, you don't care if you have an audience. You don't care if there's no audience. You're just doing you. And the thing about being who you truly are is that whenever you act in your truth, whenever you act accordingly, you just glow. You would attract the right people towards you. And unfortunately, others will be there that will be like, I don't want to say haters because not everyone is a hater. It's just some people, they downright didn't expect you to be doing what you're doing at the moment. Okay, that's all, just it. I don't want to call them hater because it has so much negative vibe. It's just they're surprised. They're surprised that you actually did what you set out to do. They're surprised that you made it this far. They're surprised that you have gained a sort of happiness that they possibly didn't think that it's possible in life to achieve. And yeah, and you're doing this. And that doesn't mean that everything is going to be smoothie forever and ever, okay? Life doesn't work like that. There are going to be moments that, you're going to fall on your bum. Because the person that was skating, they were really into it, enjoying it. All that they came across a rock and then they fell. They fell on their bottom. And they didn't sit down and cry or hide or play the victim or, or pull back. No. They just stood up, dust themselves, and then they overcome it. Because you know who you are, and you know that you have already overcome so much that whatever comes your way right now is just like, oh, okay, this is nothing but another stepping stone, and you step on it. You use it exactly for what it is. You see the lesson, you learn it, integrate it, and that allows you to go higher, to go to operate in a higher frequency, to live. To learn something new, you know what I mean? To learn something new, to integrate something new that expands you. And like I said, literally, I think I wrote this down. I wrote, you do not hide, you rise above it and reach new heights, because that power is one of your innate strength. You rise above all obstacles because you know who you are. And because you can, you know who you are, and you know that you can, and you know that every obstacle in your way is nothing but a stepping stone. So this week, you're going to be living life. Finally, you're going to be living life. No more like doing the work. You're living life. And whatever comes your way, you're using it as a stepping stone. And you're not competing anymore. You're living life. You're not attaching yourself to anything that's going to pull you down. You've made it. You're finally in a place of the living. You're finally in the world of the living. So congratulations on that. and see you guys next week. And also, I said this in the last video, but help your girl, help your girl out, because I have my life coaching exam coming up soon, and I would like to practice, So if you guys are interested in topics like, inner child healing, working, fixing your belief system, or changing your belief system, then send me an email. The email address is down in the caption. So see you guys next week. Thank you. Bye bye.